Thank you everyone for joining us and welcome to Discover Apprenticeship, developing timely and appropriate non-traditional apprenticeship opportunities. Again, I'd like to mention that Manistee County Sheriff Brian Gutowski is helping with this presentation. Also, my other team members that are joining us are Tina Holden, Brian Watkins, and also Marie Whitney. They are all apprenticeship specialists for Northwest Michigan Works. Let's get started with an audience poll.
Evelyn, I'm not sure if it's just me, but I'm only seeing kind of your startup screen for the PowerPoint. I'm not actually seeing the slide.
Okay. Let me try again. Thanks for pointing that out. Let's try again.
While Evelyn is sharing her screen, you guys, I neglected to say, if you could put your questions in the chat, I'll be keeping track of those questions and we'll ask them at the end. And then, of course, everybody will get opportunities to get some answers from everybody at that point.
Can you see the audience poll?
I can.
Okay. All right, let's start with this slide. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how knowledgeable do you consider yourself about apprenticeship development? You can enter your answer in the chat window, and we'll see if the slides will move forward. So let me know if they do.
So these numbers are all over the place. Evelyn, they're coming fast and furious, and I really wouldn't be able to give you any kind of an average, but there's a couple of 9s, quite a few 6s, a couple 2s. So
oh, that's great.
You have a real good mix of people at all kinds of different levels here.
Okay, that is perfect. Can you see the slide that says today's takeaways?
I still see audience poll.
Okay. Let's see. For some reason, it is not sharing. Let's try again. I wonder. Let me do entire screen and see if this will work.
There you go. I bet that'll work. And while Evelyn's working on that, I'll just give everybody another reminder to make sure you take some time today to visit the exhibitors. There's videos that you can watch to learn more about them. There's also an opportunity to do some virtual networking. So please get some time, if you do, to try that out.
All right. It's still not sharing. Let me try again. Okay. Okay.
Now we see takeaways.
All right. Can you see this? Today's takeaways?
Yes.
We see the current slide, but it just looks like the PowerPoint screen like before. So I think when you advance to the next slide, you might be stuck here again. I'm not sure.
Okay. So it's not advancing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, let's try. We might need to get technology to help with this. I don't know why it won't share. Well, we can work off this PowerPoint if we have to.
Yeah, Lynn, if you just don't share the slideshow and you kind of just share your preview and then click on the next slide, I think that would probably work.
Okay, we will try it that way. Can you see today's takeaways right now? Is it like a full screen for all of you?
No.
We can see that slide, and then we can see your slide navigation pane on the left-hand side.
Okay.
Your slide.
Yeah, for some reason it won't advance.
Okay. Well, so I can go on mute here and turn my camera off and make a phone call to the Motown Digital people. So if you guys want to just kind of chat about those takeaways. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Okay. I'll go ahead and try sharing in just the PowerPoint.
Man, and I was going to do a whole stand-up routine too. I should have prepared that just in case.
I know, you should have. And we tested this before we even came on today. Okay. So I am going to leave it in this mode. I think I have to do maybe presentation mode. Let's try that. Okay. It is in that correct view. Okay. Okay, it should work, and I don't know why it's not. Okay, we will just go back, and I will share it. I think maybe I can take it. Okay, we will just share it in this view until we can get some assistance. So today's takeaways, among these three, we have how the program was actually developed, the 9-step process that we typically use at Northwest Michigan Works, and then how this is going to impact the talent pipeline. Northwest Michigan Works is a nonprofit organization, as many of you know, and we cover these 10 counties. We are an apprenticeship sponsor and intermediary. We are also demand driven, which means we really focus on the needs and of our employers as well as our job seekers. So the population in Manistee County is 24,457. Our unemployment rate is at 7.8%. And an interesting fact is that we have more water than we do land in our county. Registered apprenticeship is a proven training method that allows employers to pass along the skills and knowledge of their occupations to a new generation of workers. This training method really allows the apprentices to earn, learn, and then lead as mentors once they complete their program. So let's do another audience poll. If you could participate in a registered apprenticeship, what occupation would you choose? Enter your answer in the chat window.
Here we go, electrician, another electrician. Baker, that's a cool one. Plumber, public relations and business administration, surgical tech, wow. Hospitality.
There are so many different
Precision
occupations.
agriculture.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mechanics.
So let's look at some of today's workforce challenges. First of all, our employers are experiencing a lack of skilled workers, and that can either be with soft or technical skills. They can experience high turnover with time and cost that's involved in that, And most of the employers that I talk to state that it costs at least $10,000 in lost wages, productivity, and with the cost of recruiting a new employee. And many of our employees are aging out of the workforce, and our employers have an inadequate succession plan, or they lack a talent pipeline. So true or false, this is just something to think about. Employers are wanting to help employees succeed, improve productivity, and increase worker loyalty. And of course, all of those are true. True or false again, our employers need highly skilled workers, dedicated employees, and they need to fill essential workforce gaps. And again, all of those are true. So the registered apprenticeship solution, it is customizable and targeted. It includes essential and technical training, which can be soft skills or behavioral competencies. It reduces turnover. 94% of apprentices are employed upon completion. And registered apprenticeship really launches that talent pipeline. So our apprentices are earning, learning, and then leading a new generation of workers. What is a registered apprenticeship? And many of you already know this. Typically, there are 5 components to a registered apprenticeship program. We like to say that there are 7. First of all, the employer involvement. Every registered apprenticeship starts with employer engagement. And then there's the structured on-the-job learning, related instruction as well. And that includes coursework or curriculum that complements the on-the-job training. And then rewards for skill gains or regular wage increases. And once the apprentice completes the program, they receive that national occupational credential. Now, the other 2 components I always like to mention are, 1, we have to have a dedicated mentor that is willing to share their knowledge and skills. And we also have to have that committed apprentice that stays engaged through the entire length of the program. And also, these components are really easily integrated into most human resource policies that employers already have in place. So what are the benefits for the employer, those highly skilled employees that they are all seeking? It reduces turnover, it helps with productivity, it creates a targeted training plan. A registered apprenticeship can take a job description and put a really nice framework around it to help track the training of your employees. It creates that talent pipeline, and there are many training resources that can be built into a registered apprenticeship. Now, for the worker, it's that opportunity to earn, learn, and lead, the increased skills and wages, that education without a hefty debt. It provides a career pathway for the apprentice, and they receive the national credential at the end. Apprentices can also receive support services to help ensure the success of their individual program. So the partners. In this particular apprenticeship, our employer was Manistee County Sheriff, and they were just a wonderful partner to work with. We also partner with Department of Labor, Office of Apprenticeship, of course, our organization. Our educational provider was West Shore Community College, and then we had other partners along the way. So in a registered apprenticeship, the partners play different roles. There is some crossover as well. So as the employer, Sheriff Gutowski was able to select the occupation. He helped develop the on-the-job training and the related technical instruction. He hired and is training currently the apprentice. Through the development process, he helped to complete the documents, and he's very committed to completing this program. In our organization, we help the sheriff develop paperwork, helped him research the related technical instruction. Again, this is through West Shore Community College. We are helping to manage, and we do sponsor the program. And right now we do have funding and other resources to help ensure the success. The Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeship provides the guidance, reviews the paperwork, and registered the program. And once our apprentice completes this program, we'll issue the national credential. Our educational partner, West Shore Community College, they help to research and facilitate the related technical instruction. They were just a great partner with our employer, and they also support the apprentice. At Northwest Michigan Works, we have a 9-step process. We talk to the employer. We discuss the opportunities for a registered apprenticeship. We start the paperwork and help with the paperwork through the entire process. We complete the documents with the employer, and then we submit to the Department of Labor on behalf of our employer. The Department of Labor reviews and approves the program after they have determined that it is comprehensive, safe, and a valuable training method. And then once the program is initiated, we visit the employer and the apprentices, and we host an orientation ceremony. And if there are openings, we help promote and recruit those apprenticeship openings. Previously, registered apprenticeship had a lengthy process, and some employers would become very overwhelmed with all of the paperwork. But now there are simpler templates that are available. And because Manistee County Sheriff's Office worked with us and we sponsored the program, they only had to complete the Appendix A and the Appendix D. And these are samples of what those documents actually look like. So here's another audience poll. There are over 1,300 apprenticeable occupations. Which of these hasn't been approved? There is one on this list. Is it the glass eye maker, the bank teller, the candy maker, the barista, the actor, or the farmer?
You're getting almost 100% actors in here. A couple other choices, but I would say the vast majority of your answers in here are actor.
So actually the barista has not been an approved occupation, at least not yet. But actor is an apprenticeable occupation. I always find the glass eye maker the most interesting.
That's what I said when I first made the presentation. So I might look at a new career path. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move into our video. This is our case study on how we actually developed the Manistee County Sheriff's Office Police Officer Registered Apprenticeship. I should mention that this is the first police officer apprenticeship in the state. So it is very exciting that we were able to partner on this. And I will try to share the video. I hope this works.
My name is Brendan Cook. I'm a sheriff's deputy for the Manistee County Sheriff's Office. It's something I've always wanted to do. I wanted to do something where I could help people where I grew up and stay local. And it's kind of been in my family. So it's been something I wanted to do for a long time. And I learned about this apprenticeship through our sheriff and through the police academy at West Shore College. I thought it just sounded like a good opportunity for me and our department to help with some funds and get some extra training and extra equipment. And it just seemed like an all-around good deal.
I'm Brian Gutowski, Manistee County Sheriff.
The reason we decided to develop an apprenticeship program is like many industries and many professions around the country right now, we're struggling to find qualified candidates who are interested in the position of police officer. So what we did, in trying to branch out and find new and creative ways to kind of promote the profession and give us an opportunity to reach out to individuals who maybe didn't have quite the ability to get started in law enforcement or didn't really know much about how to get involved in it. This gave us an opportunity to work with Michigan Works to develop a program where we could kind of, not only give them some additional benefits and some additional positives for joining the profession, but it also gave us an opportunity to kind of promote the profession. And we thought this was a good way to do it. So we went through what would be your typical hiring process, right? Get an application from them, do a series of interviews, just like we do when we hire police officers or deputy sheriffs normally. So the apprentice that we have is a local young man whose father's been in law enforcement. So the interest is there. He wants to stay in this community. He loves the community. So it was an easy pick for us after going through that process. He's an outstanding young man and has been doing very well. So for our police officer apprenticeship program, it really mirrors our field training program here. So it's a lot of the same training that we were doing for our police officers, our deputy sheriffs that we were hiring, but we incorporated that into the training program. So the individual will attend college, typically at West Shore Community College, where they'll get their basic law enforcement academy.
I'm John O'Hagan, Academy Director here at West Shore Community College. Hands-on based work learning. That's what we do here when we have an apprentice come through our program. We want them to see exactly what the life of a police officer is, the roles they play in their community, the integrity that is needed for them to succeed. You put all that together, the apprentice can watch step by step in the life of a police officer. MCOLS is the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement standard. They are our governing body. So they set our curriculum up. So we follow their curriculum to a T, which consists of 594 hours. That is a minimum number of hours. Our academy has been averaging approximately 650 hours, which again, doesn't seem like a lot over the 16 weeks. But again, we do a lot of things that are scenario based. We want them to see what it's like in the real world of being a police officer. Kind of not what's on television, but again, dealing with the public, enhancing your communication skills, working with them to build that trust and that support is so important. So that's one of the main components that we teach throughout the academy, and we do that with scenario-based learning. So there's 5 skilled areas that MCOLS focuses on. You have firearms, you have fitness and wellness, you have first aid, you have emergency vehicle operation, and of course, a big one, you have subject control, otherwise known as defensive tactics. So those are the main 5. You have to have 100% participation. You can't miss any time for those. It's that critical. The rest of the curriculum is based underneath those, where you have police procedures, traffic law, where you learn how to do traffic stops, learn the rules of the road, interrogation, investigation. So all that is compiled into that curriculum.
And then they come here to the sheriff's office where you put them with a mentor or a field training officer, and they go through an FTO book, or what has now become really our Appendix A or apprenticeship book, to give them the skills that they need to be successful police officers.
My name is Paul Warniak. I'm with the Manistee County Sheriff's Office. I've been in the job for 23 years. I'm a road patrol sergeant. Being a mentor, or as we call it in our field, a field training officer, is a very important job, and it is something that I take a lot of pride in. It is a difficult job. You're tasked with taking somebody from the academy who has a solid foundation and showing them step by step how to do the job on their own as a law enforcement officer. When we have someone start the field training program, they are given a manual, and in the manual it has objectives, and these objectives will cover most of the different types of complaints and different types of tasks that are required of a law enforcement officer. And the process of field training is about 4 to 5 months, and during the course of that time, each of those objectives will either be real world handled, or they will be set up in a scenario format until the field training program is satisfied that the trainee has been able to accomplish that in a satisfactory manner.
Something new every day for the most part. It's always something new between defensive tactics or out on the range, how to deal with certain people in different scenarios.
So what makes it easier, at least from the law enforcement perspective, is with our field training program, we were already tracking how many hours of training in each segment our trainees were getting to begin with. So it really, by aligning our field training up with the Appendix A, it made tracking and keeping an idea of where that apprentice was in their training a lot easier. So what I would say is, for most law enforcement agencies who are running a field training program, you're already doing the majority of what you need to do to track the apprenticeship program already. So working with your FTOs or your mentors, it's just educating them on, hey, this is the new program. This is kind of how the hours that we're already training on fit into that program, and just helping with that understanding. That's a real challenge, but it works really seamlessly with our field training program. As far as the development, Michigan Works is fantastic. They were with us hand in hand, always ready to give us assistance with anything we had or any questions we had. And really, they eased the process for us in the development of the program.
Northwest Michigan Works is vital, because I look at it as they do our vetting. They have everybody looking for jobs. So they're taking those people and they're going through what they have to offer, their training, their skill set, their education, and they're lining them up with employers. West Shore does the same thing. What we're doing is we're saying, students, okay, this police academy, we're going to teach you what the employers are looking for. So between West Shore, Northwest Michigan Works, and our entities, in this case, Manistee County, we have a great relationship. By us all collaborating, we were able to produce a fantastic product. I think moving forward, you're going to see more and more people take this route, because it's not just about the plumbing, the carpentry, that type of apprenticeship. We're to the point now where it's happening everywhere. Law enforcement is a good place for it.
I think it's a new and creative way that we can look at, filling our workforce. As anybody who's in law enforcement knows, applications are way down from where they used to be. Interest in the profession has decreased, at least in my opinion. So I think it's, as administrators, we really need to look at new and creative ways to promote the profession and give folks who are interested in law enforcement something a little extra. And that's really what I think the apprenticeship program does. And I think it develops better police officers at the end of the program as well. Northwest Michigan Works was huge. Evelyn and her team were always checking in with me, sometimes to give me a subtle reminder like, hey, haven't heard from you in a week or two. How's this going? But if I had questions, they were always willing to make time to meet with me. They kind of put some ideas together and said, hey, this is kind of what we've seen or have been talked about. Let us know if that works for you. So really, they're there for a lot of support. They're there to give you the basic building blocks to put it together. And then if there's something that you're not comfortable with or you want to change, they're more than willing to help you out in any way they can to make it work for your organization. That's what's so cool about this process, is it's really customized to the agency. So my hiring process might look different than a Kent County or Oceana County. We all have our little nuances and differences between agencies, but Michigan Works is really willing to work with your process and what you want to see out of the program. And they were just so easy to work with. So it made it a lot easier to put the program together.
Well, I have to thank all of the partners that came together to produce that video. It was just an amazing experience, and our apprentice is doing just a wonderful job. I know that there are some questions in the chat window, so I thought we would take questions now before we continue on with the summary of the presentation. So Holly, what do you have?
Sure. Okay. Well, first of all, Marsha Black-Watson and Kevin Chow are here, and you're getting all kinds of love from those guys. So just thought I'd give you that shout out. So the first question was kind of early on in your conversation about setting up apprenticeships, and it's just a general question about what is the Department of Labor turnaround time?
That really can vary on the apprenticeship opportunity. It depends on if there are any errors in our paperwork or if the Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeship needs any clarification on the on-the-job training tasks or the related technical instruction Typically, I'd have to say it's between 2 and 3 weeks. I know that they can go as long as 45 days, something like that. But we are that's kind of what our experience has been, about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on any of the corrections or revisions we might have to make.
Okay, thank you. Then this question, is there any advocacy happening to reduce the time limit of 1 year and move towards competency-based programs?
We would love to do a competency-based public safety type occupation. And I know that this is a possibility. They are taking other occupations and transferring them into competency-based programs. So I don't see why this couldn't also be competency-based. It just takes the time to build it out. And we have not had an opportunity to actually build out a competency-based police officer, but that would be very exciting to do that.
Okay, thanks, Evelyn. And then how were you able to help with funding a municipality employer?
Under our state apprenticeship expansion grant, this employer would be eligible for grant funding. And also we have the apprentice enrolled in WIOA in order to ensure their success.
Excellent. Last question for now. Was this apprenticeship an existing ONET apprenticeship?
Yes, it is. It was existing. So it was approved by the Department of Labor, and it was listed on ONET too.
Okay, one more just popped up. What are the advantages for participating in this apprenticeship over attending a traditional law enforcement education program?
Well, I think maybe Brian would be able to answer that a little bit better as far as advantages.
Yeah. So the law enforcement landscape as far as hiring has really changed, especially in, I started in the profession. I graduated the police academy in 2005, and I was interviewing for one position with 80 to 90 other candidates for one spot. It was a really tough job market at that time. I think what you're seeing now is, if you were to pull up the MPOLS, the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards website, you would see probably 200 plus law enforcement agencies looking to hire candidates. And that it's just a very different job landscape. So I think what this does is it adds a little bit of incentive for the apprentice, the ability to purchase some equipment and get some financial support, for things like gas money to go to attend college, as opposed to putting that all out of their pocket. Just those little things, and especially in the job market the way it is, we're a small community. So, our sheriff's office doesn't have all the financial advantages that, a Kent County or an Ottawa County might have. So any little thing that I can do as the employer to entice good quality candidates to consider our office over looking at some of those larger sheriff's offices or municipality police departments is really a benefit for us. So that's what I see. And and when you look at the apprenticeship program, traditionally we did all pre-service candidates, and that's what Brennan kind of ended up being, our apprentice. But I think this opens the door because what you're going to start seeing in law enforcement now is sponsored academies. So police departments or sheriff's offices who hire a candidate prior to any training at all, they just hire them off the street, and we're going to provide that, that educational piece in the whole picture, rather than some of the pre-service stuff. So those are just some of the advantages that I saw with this program.
Excellent. Then one more question for Sheriff G. What was the biggest selling point for you to engage with this model as a way to fill your hiring needs?
Probably fairly similar, again, to what I just discussed. Any little thing that we can offer a candidate for law enforcement and to consider this profession, I think is an asset. I think if you were to go into the schools and talk to young people, this probably, whereas before we heard a lot of law enforcement interest, it just isn't there the way it used to be. So, anything we can do to add a little incentive. And I guess the other side of that is people who are a little bit later in life, who always thought about law enforcement, but might not have had the opportunity or the financial ability to get into the profession, this opens up a different way to approach that too, where, instead of having to quit everything altogether and not getting any support from the employer until I'm actually hireable or licensable as a law enforcement officer, we can offer some support to those folks to get to school and get them trained up so that we can put high quality candidates on the road.
Excellent. Thank you. That's the list of questions for now. Those were excellent answers. Thank you.
Thank you. We will move back into the PowerPoint real quick, just to wrap it up. So in summary, registered apprenticeship is employer driven, and it is built to meet the specific workforce needs of every type of business. Again, it is easily integrated, as you heard in the video. Employers have most of those components already in place. It's just putting it into a framework and a model that can be used easily to track and train apprentices. It is fully customizable, so the employer has the option of how they want to build the on-the-job training and the related instruction. And the apprentices can be new hires or current employees. And Northwest Michigan Works, we offer case management services for all our apprentices. Our team is cross-trained in WIOA and offers supportive services along the way as well. It is an earn, learn, and then lead model for the apprentices. And it helps develop that new talent pipeline of skilled mentors. We have lots of partners that are involved: employers, Department of Labor, Northwest Michigan Works, mentors, apprentices, and educational providers. We all work together to collaborate and ensure the success of every one of our apprenticeship programs. Northwest Michigan Works has a full line of services, from business and career services to talent recruitment. You can check out our website at nwmiworks.org. And Northwest Michigan Works, we continue to engage and empower employers through registered apprenticeship opportunities. Are there any additional questions?
Evelyn, I have just a question for you. You've been doing non-traditional apprenticeship development for a long time, right? You have a lot of different non-traditional apprenticeship job titles, occupations that you guys work with. Can you tell us about a few of those, maybe?
Sure. We have beekeeper apprentices, and they are getting ready to graduate their apprenticeship program. They were the first beekeepers in the state, or actually in the nation, for that occupation. And then we've also developed winemaker production technicians. We have some very traditional trades as well in manufacturing and construction, but we're always excited to work with any of our employers across the region, whether they are big or small, whether they are more in a metropolitan or rural area. It's always exciting to talk with our employers and develop new programs. We are developing multiple programs right now. One of them is an esthetician, and another one is a manicurist. So we look forward to working with the employer to complete that apprenticeship. I did want to mention a couple different apprenticeship, or a couple different questions as well for the sheriff. As he mentioned on MCOLs, there are hundreds of job openings for police officer. So I'm wondering, after you developed this program, Sheriff Gutowski, did you see a rise in interest of the police officer occupation once it was registered and developed and we sent out the press release?
Yeah, we got a ton of interest, and the majority of those are kind of the same vein that I kind of talked about. There were a lot of folks who were a bit older. They had done something else career-wise or work-wise for many years, and had always had that interest in getting into law enforcement, but couldn't see a way to make it work. So, we were in it. I got applications and phone calls, and I can only hire so many people. That's the hard part about it, right? But yeah, we saw a huge uptick in interest, which is great because I've got the wheels turning again in those people's minds, and we have a list here of people that we're going to consider when we have the next opening. So just getting people focused on looking at the profession again and seeing a different way they might be able to achieve that goal, was very cool.
And I should mention too that Sheriff Gutowski is the youngest sheriff in the state of Michigan. So he's very innovative and groundbreaking and very progressive in his thought process. And that's what made this development process also just such a wonderful experience for everyone that was involved. Another question I have for the sheriff is about future plans. Are you looking at developing any other occupations?
Yeah, so once we got done with the law enforcement side of the house, as you know, I think there's only 3 counties in the state that don't have a jail as well. So we started really looking seriously at creating an apprenticeship program for the correction side of the house as well. And I think that's even going to be more beneficial. And I know Tina's probably shaking her head going, "You haven't got back to me yet." We're still working on it. And I'll touch a little bit on that in just a minute. But yeah, the correction side of it, we're planning on standing up a program on that side of the house too, because traditionally we've always done post-service education for the correction side. So we send them to the academy. So this process is going to, I think, even be more effective on that side of our operation. And that's the one thing I wanted to mention too before we end up here. Anybody who you approach in law enforcement, especially on the administrative side, we're very busy. So there's a lot of things going on. We get a lot of calls. We have a lot of things that tug at our time. So the first thing I'll say is be kind of persistent. I know Evelyn's brought this up before we really dove into the process, and it was kind of one of those things that looks kind of daunting on its face, right? We have to do all this, that Appendix A, and go through all this process. And so initially my thought was, man, I don't think I have time for that. But finally I said, well, we got to do something here to get this ball rolling. And once I kind of committed to it and got into the process, it's not nearly as daunting as it would appear on its face. And again, Northwest Michigan Works and their staff, again, like I said in the video, they prodded me once in a while to say, hey, haven't heard from you, and keep the ball rolling here, which was helpful for me. But if you approach a police chief or a sheriff's office and they say, hey, I just don't understand it. I don't know how it works. I don't know how this is how much of my time it's going to take. You can certainly have them call my office and speak with me. I'd be happy to be kind of a reference for how the process went. And again, don't give up on us. We're very busy. So if it takes a little more time than you were hoping it was going to take, that just might be how you fit into that schedule. So be persistent. And if they have questions, they can certainly call my office. I'd be happy to chat with them about it.
And the discussion really started, I think, during our public safety advisory meetings at West Shore Community College. Right. This is, I think we meet twice a year as a group and talk about different training opportunities, gaps, what's happening at the college. And as we started working together, and Christy Christmas at West Shore Community College is also a big advocate for registered apprenticeship programs, So all of us would be in these discussions about different training opportunities and dollars and support for the apprentices. And that's kind of how this discussion started. And then we moved forward with the paperwork, and Brian was very patient with us. He worked diligently to get the paperwork done. So don't let him fool you, because he was on top of it. And we appreciate that he was able to complete the documents. And if we didn't hear from him, we knew he was busy. They are extremely busy, and they're working with, their own crews besides, and everything that they have going on. So patience on both sides is greatly appreciated. And I will put my contact information in the chat window as well. And Sheriff, if you want to put your contact information in the chat window, that would be helpful too. Yep.
Evelyn, I have 2 quick questions here. Okay. Do you have a jewelry related apprenticeship?
We do have a jeweler related apprenticeship. And that is a very small company. We have one gentleman who is the owner. Unfortunately, the apprentice did not complete her program. I think she's like 62 years old, and it was a very aggressive related technical instruction and on-the-job training. So there is an opening for that apprenticeship. If there's somebody interested in becoming a jeweler, that apprenticeship is currently open.
Thanks. And then, are you an intermediary?
We are an intermediary and sponsor. We have had our set of standards since 2009. And under those standards, we can help employers of any size and in any occupation.
Thank you, Evelyn. We'll give people a few more minutes to put some questions in there. I just have some feedback for you. You know, we are at UP Michigan Works. We're brand new. We just got our standards approved within weeks ago, literally. And so we're just starting out, and this has been really inspiring. We appreciate this, your story and all your help as we've moved through our process and all the learning that you've helped us do up here with our program. And then I just want to remind everybody, I'm going to put the feedback survey in the chat. There it is. And then I need to remind everybody to please make some time when you can to visit the exhibitors and to participate in some networking opportunities. Thank you, Marcia.
Are there any other questions?
I'm not seeing any other questions, but lots of positive feedback. Oh, here we go. Is there a statewide listing of the apprenticeship contact person's name and contact information for Michigan Works statewide? There is. There's an ASC listing.
Yes. I believe you can find it on the Leo Apprenticeship website. Oh, how did we become an intermediary? We had standards that were developed with Dave Jackson from the Department of Labor back in 2009. And that's when we became an intermediary for one occupation at that time, which was certified nurse's assistant. And then from there was more and more attention and dollars being put forward for registered apprenticeship program. So we started to expand our program, and the next occupation that we added was the winemaker. And from there, we started to receive different grants on the state and federal level to expand our program. And so that's kind of how we started. And then now we have 30 plus occupations that we manage, and we are adding more all the time. We started as myself as the apprenticeship success coordinator, and then we expanded our team just recently and added 3 apprenticeship specialists. So it's very exciting to see the growth. And I do have to give a shout out to our state partners, Marcia Black Watson and the apprenticeship team, because they are just wonderful to work with as well.
Mm-hmm. And Kevin put the apprenticeship success coordinator link in the chat. Another question, has the Michigan Sheriffs as a whole discussed a combined list of available apprenticeship openings?
You know, we haven't, but I think that might be we were the first one in the state. So I know I have gotten a call from Lake County, which is just to the southeast of our county here, about establishing a program down there. It might not be a bad idea, and that's a really great point to bring up to the Michigan Sheriff's Association, which we all belong to kind of coordinate as a whole. It might be maybe we can make a statewide movement towards establishing programs like this. That's a great idea.
Yes, and comment on that is that would help to attract veterans.
Agreed.
On that intermediary question, there is a helpful document, and I think training's being planned through the Workforce Intelligence Network, where they have a process guide they've developed for entities who are interested in becoming an intermediary on starting a new apprenticeship programs. I know that's been a document that's been helpful for us.
And the Department of Labor too.
Right, absolutely.
Has a great document and can help become an intermediary and sponsor and lead you through the process.
Yeah, that's really important, is to work through the Department of Labor representatives. Absolutely.
You can contact Russ Davis. He is the state director for the Department of Labor to find out more about becoming an intermediary. And then he can let you know who is your local apprenticeship training representative. But there are lots of resources online as well. Thank you, Stephanie. I did add my email to the chat window, and I know the sheriff did as well. So if you have other questions, we'd be happy to help.
This has been great. You've got a lot of great audience interaction here today, and that's always a sign of success, right?
Well, thanks, Holly.
Okay. Well, it looks like questions are winding down, so I guess we can give everybody their next 7 to 8 minutes back and enjoy your networking opportunities and your exhibitor experiences, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you, Sheriff, for joining us today.
My pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity as well. So, take care.
Take care, everyone.
Okay, I think my camera on this one got kind of turned off because I'm the moderator, which I guess that's okay. But Evelyn, nice job. It was really great to see you. Hope you're muted.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Thank you. It was great to see you again, too.
Yeah, that was fun.
I wish the PowerPoint would have worked appropriately like we had practiced.
Once we got it going, it was fine.
That was crazy, though.
The video was perfect.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny?
Good that the video worked.
I know. And we just practiced. We just turned it on and everything worked right before we started. So
Yeah.
Why did
that was a nicely produced video? Did you hire someone to make that, or is that in-house?
We have Dan Boss, who is our communications specialist, and we send him out on these assignments on my crazy ideas sometimes. And then he kind of follows up. You know, I put together kind of a script, but Brian had a lot of great ideas too about how we could pull this together. And then Dan does all the editing. And you have to understand that our region is so large. So Dan had to travel from Traverse City, actually out of our region, to get the footage at the training center at West Shore Community College. And I think it took him 2 days to actually capture all the footage. And then he edited everything together. The presentation will be available on our website as well.
Nice. Is he a younger kid?
No, he has background in news, television news.
Oh, that's
Yes.
cool. It
Yeah.
seems like the young people now, like video production is part of just what they know how to do. It's not,
Yeah, he does a great job. You know, I try to outline a script for him. So he has the questions and kind of, you know, we talk about the vision for the video, but he really pulled it together nicely. and all the interviews were just great. I mean, we just cannot be happier with our employer partner on this. The sheriff has just been so cooperative in letting us do all of these videos and presentations, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, what a great best practice. We've heard from a couple employers who are longtime apprenticeship sponsors that they have recently found their apprenticeships are a competitive edge for them when they're recruiting people. I think we have a manufacturing company over in the Western UP who he swears that his new hires he's hired to go into apprenticeships, they would have gone somewhere else to work had it not been the apprenticeship opportunity. So I always think that's really an interesting aspect.
Yeah, I think we are seeing that more and more with the apprenticeships that we're developing as well, that it does carry a lot of weight when our employers are advertising their openings. And that's so exciting to see. I mean, that's wonderful.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to hop off and get ready for 2:00 and enjoy the rest of the conference. Maybe I'll run into you tomorrow, Evelyn.
Okay. Thanks, Holly.
Okay.
Bye.
Nice to
Have a
meet
good day.
you.
Thanks, Brian. Have a great day.
You too, Evelyn. Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.